Welcome, guys, to the Muscle Mastermind podcast. It's another episode. I've got with me a very, very special guest. He's won 6 competitions and placed third 3 times at the Grand Prix. Recently came first place at NABA, took third in WNBF Germany, and took second place in the WNBF. If you don't know him, he's probably backstage sorting things out as the WNBF president. This is for the Britain's one as well. So, without further ado, I want to introduce Andrew, who's got a PhD in nutrition, and is we're just going to have a conversation, get to know what his mental's like, day to day stuff, and then maybe some other time in the future we'll get into the really nitty gritty stuff of bodybuilding and fitness. So, Andrew, what's going on?
Hey, Dimitri, thanks for having me on the Muscle Master podcast. Thanks for getting me on here to have a little chat. As you say, I am the president of the WNBF UK. I am also a bodybuilder myself. So I've been a pro natural bodybuilder since 2014, and I've taken part in 8 pro shows. But prior to that, I think all in I must have done about 30 bodybuilding shows, and I also run pro prep coaching as well. We had over 30 athletes take part in over 50 competitions this year. So it was a very, very busy year and a very successful year for pro prep coaching as well. So thanks for having me on. Hopefully people will find this an interesting podcast. I'm just back from Los Angeles. We had a team of 24 athletes taking part in the WNBF World Championships. That was a really exciting event. So I can maybe talk a little bit about that. But the question you put it to me was, what's a day-to-day look like for me? Yeah?
Yes.
That was the big thing. You know what? It really does depend. Depends on the day of the week and what I'm doing. So I'm an online coach. Yeah, that's one of the things that I do. Formerly, I used to be an academic. So I worked as a scientist in the past and a lecturer. So it would be day-to-day teaching people, be in the lab doing something, admin, and maybe doing some sort of mentoring or something like that along the way. But at the moment, the day-to-day for me is quite different, as you can imagine from there. So this probably sounds a lot similar to a lot of online coaches sort of do. So we're always working with our clients. So I try to split things up so that I've got all my check-in calls and all the client work. I try to do it the first end of the week, and then at the latter end of the week, I try to do all the administrative stuff as well, because running pro prep coaching with my good lady Steph Noble obviously takes a lot of work as well. So
quickly, just on that one, why do you put the administrative stuff at the weekend and the other stuff at the beginning? Is there like a reason, or is it just what works for you? And what's the decision thought process there?
Oh, it's a good question. It works for me for a start. What I've done in the past is I've had the client work dispersed over the course of the week. So if it's dispersed over the course of the week, you're dealing with client work every single day. But and do it all in one, or I try to do it all at the start, because I find that if you've got things that are a little bit bitty, then when you've got sort of tasks that you want to do,
your connections just breaking off quickly.
Oh, sorry, I'll repeat that last bit. What there was, I've got to stop and start a task because I've got to work over and over again. I'm efficient, so I try to bunch it all together so that I can make sure that if there's anything difficult I'm trying to do, then I can put all my focus into a particular task. And then the rationale for it, as well as you're doing client work, you might be doing pro for people, you might be doing that assessment. Any individual might need some sort of specialist guidance. So I might have to go away and do some sort of research and some new resource for them. So one of the things that I do, because I was a teacher in a past life, is I produce lots of materials. So I'm always making a lot of webinars. So that's one thing I'm doing. And they take a little bit of time. So
I can imagine.
8 hours to produce a webinar, then you can imagine you wouldn't be able to put all your focus into that. Also, people like to start new dietary plans on a Monday. Everyone knows that every new plan starts on a Monday.
On Monday,
so that means I've got to leave the latter half of the week in place so I can put together my new plans from there. And then I try to divide it as well, because I do a lot of these podcasts and I write articles and things like that. So I try to
Yeah.
have them all done for the start of the week coming out as well at the same time. So
Oh,
it just kind of works for me
yeah,
working
it
like
does make
that.
sense. It makes sense. Yes, it does.
I've also got staff that I've got to contend with as well, because pro coaching is
Oh,
not just me. It's me, it's Steph, but then there's Dave Taylor, there's Natalie Woods, and there's Rob Brown as part of it. So we've got the other half of the week is left for reviews and things like that. And they tend to structure their client work to be at the start of the
okay.
week as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Everyone
yeah.
wants coming off the back of the weekend that kind of feedback. So it kind of works like that. Also, I tend to travel at the weekend for events and stuff like that. So I need to be able to get all the stuff done at the start. So I've got the free time,
Yes.
so I can go from
Enjoy.
there.
Yeah,
Does,
for sure.
does that answer the
That
question for
yeah,
you?
it definitely does. It makes sense because I'm just thinking maybe someone who's a coach, like for example, would not have thought about okay, I'm actually working on clients every single day. I might think that's the best way to do it because I'm working with a client every single day. But in some degree, in terms of efficiency, it might make sense to actually split it so you can actually have some free time, and it keeps you aligned as to what you need to do on certain days and what time you have spare. So yeah, it is definitely helpful. So yeah, you were saying about how your day goes.
Oh yeah, of course. And by the way, on the points that you said there, look, there's a lot of different ways you can run a business,
Yeah,
and look, if you like doing it every single day, then do it every single day. Don't let me tell you otherwise. It's all, you have to get job satisfaction out of it as well at the same sort of time. So, and if you like it that way, or you've got clients that like that, the check-ins have to be on those particular days for whatever reasons, then do
yeah.
it that way. But I just do it like this. So day to day, so I tend to do the client work as early as I can in the morning because that's when I've got the most focus and attention to do the most of my thinking power from there. You notice this as you
Okay.
get older, the amount of thought process you've got to apply to things
Yes.
finite and complex problems are a younger person's game. So I tend to do that stuff in the morning, and then later on in the evening, I tend to sort of move towards doing more stuff which is focused on, like I say, more admin. I'll chase up the emails, I'll chase up the invoices that might need to be done there. That's where I'll start maybe putting that together, the dietary plans that I might need to do. In terms of the social media, try to put out stuff first thing in the morning, just because
Oh,
of
really?
the algorithms and I mean there's sort of two times a day when I sort of notice people that follow us and follow me are most busy. It's first thing in the morning when they're maybe commuting to work, or
Yeah.
it's back from the evening. But
From
I've
the
also got to
evening,
do
yeah.
with the USA market. So like I get a lot of stuff that comes on later on in the day as well. So if I put something out in the morning, it tends to do better than anything that I put
Across
on uh,
midday.
yeah, later than midday. So
That that
it's
makes sense.
generally social media stuff first, followed by the client work. Try to get as much of that done early on as I can, then move on to the other tasks that I might have to do
Okay.
from there. So
Quick question, because I don't think we're gonna go away from this day to day because I'm just gonna pick up little bits in the middle.
oh
So
yeah, of course, of course.
in terms of social media in the morning, are you what's your mindset like when you wake up? Because I'm just playing devil's advocate. Because some people might say, okay, I want to wake up, but I don't want to spend the first 3-4 hours on the phone. But whereas on your side, even though you're still being productive with being on your phone, what's your thought process in terms of in the morning and like kind of attacking the day?
Well, I suppose it's how you've got to sort of think about it, isn't it? Because you're saying you don't want to spend the first few hours on your phone, but it's work. Like it is work. It's
Okay,
like I'm
okay,
not going
makes
on
sense.
social media to play, like I'm
Yeah,
or to have a browse or to kill time. Like if I'm posting someone on social media, it's because I'm working. Like
yeah,
so,
makes
like if
sense
I do a post at like 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, like I've just got to factor in that's just part of my job that I've
for
got to
sure.
do. And like a lot of people use social media in different ways, and like I might go on and do a little bit of scrolling and see what's going down and like a few things, but ultimately the task I've got to do is I've got to put something out in some sort of content and some sort
Content,
of way,
yeah.
and the best way to do it is to know what you're posting in advance. Like it's to write up the cap the day before or 2 days
Yeah,
before,
sure.
make up the post in advance so that when it comes to 8 or 9 o'clock when I get up in the morning, I just go, right, okay, I know I'm going to post this. Boom, that's out. that's done. The caption's written. There we go. And I'll come back and check it maybe in half an hour because it's important for me to get responses in quickly for the algorithm. And then after that, I'll come back and I'll check it later on in the afternoon, do more responses, and then go from there. The other social media aspect is as well, if I don't have something prepared, then I still need to be productive on it. So I need to share all the posts and all the stories which are on my own page, reply to any messages, and then respond to anything on the WMBF page as well at the same time. So I think it comes into framing it. Like, I mean, you don't want to be on your phone first thing in the morning, but like, it's work.
It's for work.
Like, I'm just doing my job. It's part of my job. This counts towards some from there. And if you can prepare stuff in advance, then that's going to help you a little bit as well. I mean, the big thing on social media at the moment, I mean, we all use Instagram. That's what we use. TikTok's very popular as well at the moment, as is things like Snapchat. And I really need to make sure that I migrate some stuff over to TikTok. And then LinkedIn is another place that I need to get myself more onto as well. But it's producing reels, and I need to get better at doing that. So that's something I'm going to have to some time towards doing. From there. But if I give you an example to come back to everything, and does that all make sense as well?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I feel like a lot more people would probably now have an idea as to how you structure your day and how your thought process is. So it's something for people to think of and act upon, however they see fit. So
I'll give you an example of a rundown from here, because I've got like a to-do list, and I think lists are very helpful from here. So, like, for example, like doing the WMBF UKs obviously takes up a lot of my time along with doing prep. But for example, I've got a list here that says, okay, right, first thing I've got to do is Facebook. I need to put a post on my Facebook page. So I need to do that for my own Facebook community group. So that's a job that has to be done. I need to post about the backstage team who are getting ready for the WMBF UK. So I have to contact all them, see who's available, see who's going to go and do it. I need to contact the polygraphing team and to see, we've got to set up our polygraphs for the day.
I actually owe you guys £60.
Oh, do you? All right, okay, well, we didn't know about that.
No, I do. Just quick funny story. I got in there and he must have said, first thing he said when he opened the door was, what's it called? Do you have the money? I was like, what are you talking about? It was like £500. And I looked in because he had the accent as well. And I was like, he's joking because that's a crazy amount of money. And then we finished the thing. And then he was like, well, have you got the money? And I thought he was joking. And then he was like, well, it's £60. And I was thinking, are you serious? Or is this another joke from earlier? And then I opened the door because everyone was saying outside. I was like, is everyone paying? He was like, yeah, it's £60. And I was like, oh wow, I didn't even know. Because the email that you guys sent was so long with the polygraph, I wasn't even sure, and I didn't have cash on me. So I said I'd pay it. I'll go to an ATM, but then I just completely forgot all in general. But I thought it was trying to scam me, but it wasn't. But yeah, I owe you guys.
Don't worry about it now. It's there's a lesson there on reading the emails that we send out. Yeah, someone had to write that email at some point to make sure that everyone knew.
Probably you or Steph or someone in the team. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
but yeah, still go on.
So there's an example. So like we've got to organize a backstage team. We've got to put out Facebook posts, and we've got to organize the Facebook team. I've got a tick box here because I was getting in touch with Matt Does Fitness because we're running the drug testing program with him. So I've got to follow up on invoices. I've got to arrange the random drug testing with him. I've got to do the consults that I'm getting that day for clients potentially.
Okay.
Go through for check-ins. I've got a note here for an Instagram post that I had to do. I've got another note here about the could I post that I did the other day there about there's things that you should do and there's things that you could do, and it's that perfectionist mindset that we're working on. I've got another thing here. I've got written down Natty News Daily, so I've got to get in touch with them about something. And then I've got an invoice that I've got to pay for the MPA. So those are all just tasks that
that has to be done. Yeah.
Okay. That had to be done. So it sort of just gives you an idea that like the day-to-day things are very different, which is cool. I like it. There's a lot of different bits and to be put together.
Okay, quickly, what do you do for fun? Away from the posing. Away from the posing, the bodybuilding, the training, the pro prep, everything. As in, like, a man who has nothing to do with fitness at all, what do you do for fun?
Okay, well, I like drinking wine. I like drinking whiskey. So I always find that very fun. So I wouldn't mind going to a nice bar and
Yeah, okay.
try different whiskeys. There's a great one in Aberdeen called the Grill. They've got a whiskey menu, and if you're listening to this on a podcast or if you're watching it on YouTube, the menu's about that thick. So you'll have that's about 3 inches. So that'll have pretty much
Options.
any single malt you could
Yeah.
imagine yours to 30-year-olds. I like smoking cigars. I like going to restaurants. I would go to the cinema. I'm a football fanatic, so I like watching football quite a lot. I used to go to games when I was younger, quite a lot. And then the other thing, I quite like gaming as well. I
Oh.
play Xbox and things like that as well. Like from there, but I suppose the other thing that I would do is history is my thing that I like. Yeah, I'm really into history and listening to podcasts on it, or
Oh.
geopolitics and things like that. So those are things I guess I do for fun.
That makes sense.
Most of
Okay.
it with
Yeah.
Steph as well. He's into a lot of that
Most
stuff as well.
that's pretty fun. Yeah, I saw the picture of you on holiday with the cigar. That's why I was so I was waiting for the cigar to come into and it came in. So yeah, that's cool. Okay, next question would be looking back to when you was, I don't know, 20 to 26 roughly, what
Okay.
would you say what would you say was very pivotal, that what you did was very pivotal as to where you are now?
Um, God, I mean, it's an important time for a lot of young guys in terms of their development, because that's really where you go from being a young man into a man. I was very fortunate. I had some really cool mentors around me. One of I used to work for a company called Extreme Nutrition, and it was run by a guy called Douglas Black. And Douglas Black was a entrepreneur, a very successful one. Extreme Nutrition was probably a company turnover somewhere in the region of £3 million per year. So decent sized business, and he was successful as a business owner doing that. He had a biomedical science degree, but at the same time, he was also a motorcycle driving Hell's Angel building supplement shop owner, and he did everything his own way, right? He was so
Okay.
cool, and I really respected him for that. And there was a lot of guys that respected him as well, and it was a real shame when the guy he passed away in his late 40s. Steroid abuser, really. That was ultimately what did it. He's aorta burst, but no, he did everything his own way. But he was a great guy, really good mentor for me, and he sort of just kind of showed me like, look, you can have whatever life you want to have, and you can do it completely your own way. And I thought that was a really good lesson. But when I was working with him, that was working in a warehouse. We would go around all the bodybuilding shows, and sell supplements and do all that sort of stuff. But it sort of made me realize that I wanted more out of life, and
Yeah,
that if I wanted more out of life, I have to work hard to go and pursue these things. That
that's
okay, I've
interesting.
done my bachelor's. Oh, sorry, go on.
I was gonna say because I've been having this conversation a lot lately, which has to do with like how the young people are coming up now, and I think it keeps coming back to having someone to kind of, because I keep end up saying the statement, you can't be what you can't see. So what happens most of the time is young kids is they only have the people that's around their age, and they don't really have access to a business owner or like someone that's really, that can really say, okay, there's actually more to life, if that makes sense. So we only kind of live in that age or that kind of moment, so to speak, or we live for the moment. So I feel like a lot of people miss having that one person that could guide them or be that influential person that says, oh, there's actually something more I can get out of life, kind of thing. So I just wanted to point that out.
No, you're totally right. You're absolutely correct, and it's a really astute observation, because it's this concept that comes from sociology and psychology, and they call it the second father. So you get raised by your mum and dad up until the age of about 12-year-old. Your mum's really the main thing in your life, and then from around about 12-year-old to around about 16, 17-year-old, it then becomes your dad's the most important person that guides you to being a man. And then after that, what happens is you go out in the world, and it's often like a sports coach or it's a mentor from your workplace, your boss or someone that then takes on the role of fatherhood after that. And they call that the sort of second father concept.
Father.
And that
Okay.
occurs around about that age 22. That you're kind of talking about as well.
Yeah.
So it is something, and you're right. If you don't have the influences and you're not around the right sort of people to really guide and mentor you, then you can really struggle to fulfill your potential. So it's
Yeah.
important that you have the right people around you and you try and upskill your friend groups always. I mean, we all kind of have loyalty to the people that might be around us when we're younger, but it's important to sort of realize at the same time, okay, well, maybe some of these people are not the best for me, and I need to actually think about moving on and evolving a little bit and moving up the ladder. And what was great for me was I came from like a very working class background, very high areas of social deprivation from where I'm from. So I'm completely comprehensive school educated. A lot of poverty in the area that I grew up, but I've managed to go all the way on and get a PhD. And it was very important for me to be around a lot of people who wanted to better themselves all the time. And you kind of, I got that from my education. And being around more middle class people that inspired me to go on and to be the person that I was going to eventually be. And that's why that mentor was so important. So yeah, you've got to have ambition. You've got to hope and want that you want to be better than what you've got. I think we're kind of getting away from the question. I don't know what it was. Was it what advice would you give?
No, it was what was the most pivotal? Yeah, what was the pivotal? Oh yeah, it was. I guess it was you meeting that person that owned Extreme Nutrition, because that was that was a pivotal. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
And realizing that I wanted more out of life, and that was it. And the only way I was going to get more was if I worked really sort of hard. I knew bodybuilding was something that I was into, and I kind of used that as a vehicle to push me on. But a lot of bodybuilders I meet, like they're very one-dimensional. They've not got a pot to piss in, so they don't make any money. They're not that interested.
That's a conversation for another day, because I do have a philosophy as to why people end up really pushing for that, unnatural life, because they're all in that sense, because it's one dimensional as well. So but okay. So whilst speaking of that,
self-improvement in all areas of your life is what I'm saying to you, and explore all these areas rather than just going
makes for sure.